Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Ching! And by the way, guys, I just published a book out called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to five adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture while being Jewish. You can find it in Amazon. And by the way, I also just released my first documentary called Shabbat in the Shy, which is based on my book out on YouTube. And today we have a very special guest. He is one of the biggest social media people in the world, the one and only Quest. Woo!
What's going on? What's going on, man? That's a hell of an introduction, man. I appreciate it, man. You know what I'm saying? You said biggest in the world. God damn, you made me feel special, so I appreciate it.
I mean, I had to, brother. You look good. You got the mic. That I can tell that mic is expensive. I already know it's the real one. So I when I see one, I know one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had actually finessed Amazon off of this for this mic, you know what I'm saying? Because when I had placed the order for it, it was taking forever for it to come, so they thought they had lost it. I was like, all right, so let's just go ahead and give me all the bread for it back. It was like, all right, cool. They gave it for me back. It's like, if it was to still come to the mail, which I doubt it would, you could just keep that. But shit still came in, so I got a free mic. So that's how we went from there.
I like that. I like that, bro. That's a good one. That's a good one. So look, I want to, share a little something for our fans to get to know us a little bit more. So by the way, I met this nice man, this nice brother, back in like I would say maybe a month ago or a month and a half ago, and it was like a little spot at I'm trying to remember the place. I think it's called Voodoo Bar, something like that. It was at the Art District, and it was like a film event. So I see a few people there. They're chilling, drinking, right? And I see my brother there. He comes a little late. I'm not gonna lie. He came a little late, but it was okay. He came through, and one of the people that was running it, she introduced me to him, and real cool, real laid back. The moment we clicked, I would say, is when he talked about film. That's when we clicked. He's like, I went to school for film, and I was like, yo, me too. I love filming and editing. That's my thing. So it was just so nice to meet somebody who also has the same passion, same dream, and we hit it off real well. And brother, what about you? What do you remember that night and your experience? If you could share us when your first impression when we first met too, please spill the beans. Maybe not the cheese, but yeah,
Yeah, no. So I just found the little mixer online via social media, hella last minute. So I was like, let me try to pull through, just get to know people, maybe network and whatnot, just see the local filmmakers that's going on, just to go out and support. So we got to meet each other, and I thought you was pretty cool, and everybody around was pretty cool, and just overall, just being able to chop it up with one another, just talk about each other's experiences and passions, talking film a little bit. It was definitely enlightening, and it felt good. So that it was cool.
I like that. I like that, brother. Appreciate you, man. And look, I want us to, get us a little bit to know you a little bit more. If you could share about, like, if you were born and raised in Vegas, tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your childhood. Tell us a little bit that we don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not from out here at all. I'm actually from the Inland Empire in California, so I'm from Riverside County. And I eventually moved out here to Vegas when I started going to UNLV back in 2018 when I transferred out here. And that's when I went to go study film and whatnot. And everyone says, "Oh, why'd you come out to Vegas to do film? Yeah, yeah, you can stay in California, it was just a little personal decisions. Like I just needed to leave California and where the environment was, and just wanted to go out and explore some things and whatnot. I was just young and just trying to explore. I didn't really do enough research at the time, but it was just a matter of I felt like I just needed to go and just left. So I left, and then I somehow ended up out here in Vegas. And growing up, it was a little bit struggle trying to figure out exactly who I am, like what exactly my passions were. So just over time, as I got a little bit older, I realized the thing that I didn't have necessarily I did have a connection with consistently. That was with watching movies and just loving going to the movies, the whole experience, loving like the way that it's like filmed and everything. I was watching behind the scenes footage stuff dating back to me being a kid, just looking on special features like, oh, so that's how they made this. So like it was like kind of wired in me at like a very young age, just so curious, so adventurous, like, oh, what's there more to like, DVDs and movies and stuff like that. So, just a really along the way, it was a journey for me to navigate to like my true passion and love within film. So where, I went off to study it at UNLV for 5 years, got my degree there, and just been on the film content creation game ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. And I do want to say, like, looking at your poster behind you, right? You have Boys in the Hood, and you have I can't see the other picture.
Yeah, that's Friday.
Oh, Friday. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you, brother. I couldn't see. It was kind of hard, but I
yeah,
was like, those are
light
two
glare.
classic. Yeah, yeah. Those are two classic movies. So, that's amazing. So, would you say those are your top movies of all time? Like, if you had to pick five?
I don't know if they're necessarily in the top five, they're just like essential, like to me that I have a connection with. And like, I just really had a thing with movie posters and like, though I just love the aesthetic of it and just like what it represent in the movie and that they were a fave of mine. So, it's kind of like just a little bit of a representation of me.
Can you share a little bit about that? Like why you feel like a connection to it, or you know what I'm saying? If you could share a little bit, because that sounds interesting. I want to pick at your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just because, what growing up, like I think it started like in the sixth grade in the house. That's when I really started watching both of these films even more and just learning about it. Then like my dad, him talking about it, him being Mr. Know-It-All, because he's from Bellflower in LA. So he's talking about, stories like, oh yeah, and how they treat, in black households, they treat like movies like these as like, oh, life lessons and whatnot, use them as examples. So I just felt really connected to them and just the overall like story and pat and messages behind them. And with Friday, how it's just like it's just an entire vibe and it's just so funny and just takes place within a day in a life. And that's kind of like me, like the whole vibe of that movie is like really like laid back, chill, and like likes to laugh and just have a good time. So that's kind of what it is for me.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Yeah, because Boys in the Hood, I'm gonna be honest, that's one of the best films. I like that movie because one thing too, ladies and gentlemen, that's like Ice Cube's big movie. Like, he was already, NWA, part of a big, rap group. But that film alone, that realism, it just shows how like life used to be back in the days, right? How gangs used to be too, and it's just like a whole different view. And I'm with you, brother. I think that's like a cool, gangster movie too. Hands down, my favorite movie too, next to Boys in the Hood, is gotta be Do the Right Thing with Spike Lee. I mentioned this so many times because Do the Right Thing has so many everything that's happening. Not to get too political, but with anytime you see protesting, riots, Do the Right Thing predicted it before it even happened in our era. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hmm.
There's a reason why people are protesting. They're crying for help, or either they want to show there's not justice going on right here. You feel what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
think Do the Right Thing definitely shows that. Like it shows, it's the story that's not being told. I remember when Spike Lee, when he put the movie out and he was trying to get the budget, Hollywood was rejecting the movie. They didn't want to help, so he had to find his own way to put the movie out. So I thought that was really dope. What about you? What do you think about Spike Lee? About that film, Do the Right Thing?
Oh, I love Do the Right Thing, man. It just really stands like the test of time. It really stands like even to today, honestly. Sorry, and just the overall, because that was like his debut feature, and just the way it's overall directed and its style and the messaging behind it all. I just thought I really loved that one for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up, brother. And tell us too, right? Because now I see, one of the biggest things you do, and I see it all over social media, where you're giving commentaries about your input about movie you just watched, right? I think
Hmm.
that's amazing because you give in so much detail, you make it fun, you make it so like people want to just click it and be like, "Yo, what's he gonna say?" And sometimes I drop the popcorn. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's really nice that you do this, and tell us your journey on what got you doing this, right? And how long has it been, brother? I think it's amazing that you've been on the road, like you're killing it, brother.
Oh man, I appreciate that for surely. I really, really do. Honestly, for me, dating back to like middle school and when I was discovering like I did have a like connection with films and just wanting to like have conversation behind it. After every movie I'd watch, I'd just look up movie reviews. So I'd look up fellow YouTubers and reviewers and critics and whatnot all throughout the YouTube film space and online, and just was just constantly just watching it, just wanting to see and hear every and any conversation regarding film, just to hear varying perspectives and opinions based on it behind the scenes and in front of the camera as well. So, just growing up and then doing my time at UNLV, I had to date back to that because I just like love being in conversations about films and like being able to drive those conversations as well. So then once I realized that, I was like, I seen TikTok was going off and everybody kept saying like, oh, you should do TikTok reviews, yada, yada, yada. And for the longest period of time, I was just like, yeah, I ain't really feeling TikTok, man. I don't want to do no TikToks. And then I got out of my little stubborn ways back in like, I want to say summer 2022, 2023, I want to say. So it's been like 2 years now. And then just ever since, it's just been evolving to like, outside of just out of the theater reactions, actual like movie news segments, interviews with actors, and so on and so forth. So we're building.
Yeah, yeah, because you just did one recently with one of the power actors, right? And I thought that was really cool. Can you share how you got that opportunity? I thought that was really cool that you got to interview him. Can you spill a little beans? Like did you meet him or how did you do that, brother? Because I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Yes.
Yeah, so he's. And fun fact enough, he's not. The interview literally just posted last night, so you can check it out on YouTube. And so what it was is that I was connected with him through to a couple other fellow Power YouTube creators. Shout out to my guys, Mr. Power and the Retro Club, and those are my guys. So they did their interviews, and so they connected me with him as well. Let him know like, hey, I want to do it with you. And I guess he saw my stuff. It was interesting. He was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Because I did one with him for Force. I did a couple with some recurring characters from Raising Canaan as well. And it's just been because Power is like one of my favorite shows, and so like constantly doing content on it, and it does like do good numbers as well because I like driving those conversations. So that's how I'm like being able to get to know some of these people, get connected, and be able to like host decent interviews.
Whoa, that's pretty dope, man. I got to give you props. When I saw that, I was like, "Yo, my brother's he's making big moves, man." I can't wait when you have Tommy, and you have I can't get the actor, the Powers son, the one who's like the
Oh,
main
Tariq.
Tariq. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
those two that would be huge, and I know you will. I can tell the force is strong. I felt like the time is coming. You know.
Yeah, that's the goal. Definitely. I feel like it's coming too. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And then who other guests are you what who other people that you would love to have on your platform, do like an interview with? I think that'd be cool to know who.
I definitely want to like get to know like more like, some filmmakers and showrunners of shows as well. So, I definitely like to get to know a Sasha Penn, but get his mind behind like Raising Cain and how he was able to build out that show. Courtney Kemp as well, since she's the showrunner and like basically the whole creation of how the show Power would is because behind of her. And then even outside of Power, like I'd probably say like people like Eric Kripke, showrunner for The Boys because that show is just batshit insane. And I'd love to like talk to some of the cast and crew from that show as well. It's just varying. Honestly, I'm like open to any and every actor and talent, filmmaker of any size, whether it's indie, mainstream. Just to be able to gain that experience, hear from their perspective behind the industry and what they're currently doing. So honestly, just about everybody.
Oh, that's amazing. And I want to ask you something, right? Because you're a content creator and you're always filming and editing all the time. And what would advice would you give to people that are starting, right? And that, let's say, want to post videos, they want to, edit and put their own, I guess, twist, right? And do their own thing. What would you tell them that, if this is their first time, right? They trying to get in the game like you and trying to grow. What would you say to them?
Honestly, man, you just gotta just get in front of the camera and create, man. Don't be afraid to like be your true self in front of that camera and express exactly how you may feel about a certain particular subject. If you feel like you have that voice and you have something you want to say about that particular subject, it don't even have to be whether it's film, TV, or even like a book. Just go on, just turn on the camera and just let loose, like let out all those inner thoughts, be able to like formulate it in a way to where it can be engaging for the viewer to want to be able to hear you and talk with you in that perspective, and just treat it like you're opening up a conversation to everybody, any and everybody out there into the world. And as they're hearing you out, then they're gonna check you out and see like, hey, I like what he's saying about this particular subject. Let me try to write back and comment, like, see how I feel, like, hey, I agree or I disagree with you. And then that's how you build that conversation. And you just continue on and so forth from there. And then as you just keep on creating, more ideas will eventually come to you in the head to where like you expand upon that. And so you just honestly, it's just all about creating and just staying consistent and persistent.
I love it. I love it. That's really good, brother. And I appreciate you for sharing that. And one of my last questions, real quick, I want to ask you, any new projects that we should expect from you, brother? Anything that is coming up, maybe the end of this year or next year that you have in mind, or maybe 5 years from now, do you have any goals that you want to reach?
Yeah, actually, so in these next few weeks, man, I definitely have some stuff that's coming out, man. Be on the lookout as I got like more interviews and more content that's being pumped out from these film festivals. So, I'm really the goal for me right now is to just travel around like to multiple different film festivals, get to know more of these filmmakers and artists, and like really pick their brains and gain more inspiration from them, and just build upon from there and be able to like direct and produce my own projects as well. So yeah, that's the goal of mine, is to finally finish the screenplay idea I do have for myself and get that off the ground and just being able to have that produced. So that's honestly it. Just continue to build up Fish Flicks, the platform for like generating conversation for film and TV, while also doing my own projects on the side as well.
I love it. I love it, bro. I can't wait when your movie comes out and I see it and I get my popcorn and nachos and my Slurpee, you know what I'm saying? I'll be like, yo, that's my brother. He did it. We did it. So I'll be proud of you, man. I know manifestation's real. It's going to happen. Like I said, it's an honor having you on the show. It means a lot. You're always more than welcome to come back. Guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching ching. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat's Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And fam, where can my fans find you?
Yeah, man. So you can find me on TikTok at Fish Flicks Films for all your upcoming out of theater reactions, clips, reviews. You catch me on YouTube as well at Fish Flicks Reviews, and Instagram at k.fishflicks. I'm all around. Be on the lookout.